Welcome to another TechVid. Today, I'll show you how to set up the Sophos NDR sensor on Microsoft Hyper-V. Once configured, Sophos NDR reports all detection data to the Threat Analysis Center in Sophos Central by using a SPAN port to scan traffic generated from your Hyper-V environment. Today, I'll show you how to set up the NDR integration in Sophos Central, create a virtual switch to mirror traffic, and download and deploy the NDR image file. Lastly, I'll show you how to access the Sophos Appliance Manager to manage and troubleshoot the VM. Before starting, you need a Sophos Network Detection and Response Integration License Pack. Ensure that you're running a supported version of Microsoft Hyper-V. Note that we have separate resources for other supported hypervisors, linked in the description. Next, ensure you've enabled HTTPS access out of the target network to Sophos Central, as there is no web inspection or proxy on the connection to Sophos Central, and the physical and/or virtual switches must be configured to allow SPAN ports. For more information regarding the specific CPU requirements and appliance size guidelines, refer to the documentation linked in the video description. Let's get started. In Sophos Central, go to the Threat Analysis Center and open the Integrations Marketplace. Select Sophos NDR, then click Add Configuration. In here, you'll populate the information and settings to generate an NDR image file that's deployed in Hyper-V. Enter a name for the integration. The description is optional. Then create a new appliance to collect NDR logs. Give the appliance a name. Note, this name must be unique. Once again, the description is optional. For the virtual platform, select Hyper-V. Now, specify the network port settings. You can use DHCP or manually specify a static IP address and network configuration, which is what I'll do. Lastly, indicate any domains or protocols that should be excluded from detections. You can set up your exclusions later, but you must enter the list name now. Note that the list name must be unique for each NDR integration. In this example, I'll exclude the domain sophos.com and the multicast DNS protocol. Once done, scroll back up and click Save. Now, you're presented with the appliance credentials. Note that these are only shown once. Make sure to store these securely, as you'll need them to manage the appliance. And now, the new integration appears at the top of the list. At this point, a zip file will be created for you to deploy in Hyper-V. This can take a little while to generate, so while this takes place, set up the SPAN port in Hyper-V. For the NDR appliance to monitor network traffic, you need to set up port mirroring using a SPAN port. This mirrors traffic generated from your host locally and routes it to the Sophos NDR sensor for analysis. In the Hyper-V Manager, open the Virtual Switch Manager. Click New Virtual Network Switch. The type is External, since you're mirroring traffic from a physical switch. Then click Create Virtual Switch. Enter a name. Under Connection Type, choose the correct interface to use. Ensure that Allow Management Operating System to share this network adapter is unchecked since we're just spanning the traffic. Click Apply, acknowledge the warning, and then click OK. And now you're ready to deploy the Sophos NDR sensor VM. Head back to Sophos Central. The last step will be to download and deploy the NDR sensor image file using PowerShell. Click the ellipsis on the right, and the Download Image option should now be selectable. If not, you may need to wait and refresh the list again. Download the image. This may take some time, depending on your internet connection. Once done, extract the zip file. Right-click on the NDR sensor file and choose Run with PowerShell. If you get a security warning, click Open to allow the file to run. Enter a VM name or press Enter to use the default value specified. Next, the default location to store the new VM files is shown. Press C to create this directory. Specify the number of processors to use or hit Enter to accept the default value shown, as I'll do here. Next, specify the amount of memory to use. Once again, I'll press Enter to accept the default. Now, a numbered list of all virtual switches is shown. Enter the corresponding number for the vSwitch to attach the management interface. In this case, I'll choose 1. If you selected DHCP during setup, make sure the VM can get an IP address via DHCP. Syslog is only needed for third-party integrations and not Sophos NDR. You can select any vSwitch as a placeholder and disconnect it in the VM settings later. I'll choose 1. If you have another vSwitch you'd like to use, make sure that it has the proper access to any devices that will be sending traffic to it. Now, select the vSwitch that receives SPAN traffic, which is indicated here as Capture 1. This is the SPAN port created earlier, so I'll choose 2. If applicable, select a second vSwitch that will receive SPAN traffic. Note, if you do this, you must increase the number of CPUs for the VM to at least 8. Refer to the linked documentation for further information. Since I only have one switch set up, I'll choose 0. The VM will now copy over. You may receive this message warning you that the vSwitch isn't configured to capture packets. Press Y to enable this, and the installation will continue. Once done, you'll see a confirmation that the installation is successful. Return to the Hyper-V Manager. The NDR sensor now appears in the VM list. The state is off, and it's ready to be activated. Right-click on this and choose Connect. Then start the VM. The VM boots for the first time and checks all required connections. This can take up to 10 minutes. Next, you'll see the console UI and the startup checklist. And finally, you'll get a confirmation that the initial sensor setup is complete. Once the connection to Sophos Central is established, you'll see the status updates to Connected. Return to Sophos Central and view the new appliance. Under Integrations, go to Configured and open the Integration Appliances tab. If you have a lot of integrations, you can quickly search for the one you want. And here, you see the appliance is connected and healthy. If it's not connected, check that the HTTPS traffic is permitted to reach Sophos Central as mentioned in the prerequisites. Future integrations that you wish to set up in Hyper-V can also be deployed onto this VM. When adding the new integration, you'll select the same VM name during the setup process, and the integration will be deployed to that VM. Lastly, I'll show you how to access the Sophos Appliance Manager, which lets you access and troubleshoot Sophos virtual appliances. Click the ellipsis and go to Open Appliance Manager. Click Open, and this will launch a new browser tab. Allow the connection and log in with the credentials you saved earlier when creating the NDR appliance. Here you can see information about the VM. Open the NDR tab to monitor and manage Sophos NDR. Here you can see the network traffic flowing to the appliance. If you want, you can run queries to view traffic. Go to NDR Query. Click Example Queries. You can then copy and run any of these to view the traffic. For more information about the Sophos Appliance Manager, refer to the linked documentation. As a final note, we recommend you set up the investigation console in Sophos Central so you can access all the data on your NDR sensors, not just the data flowing to our data lake. This is valuable information you can use for threat hunting. Again, refer to our linked resources for further information. And that completes the setup of the Sophos NDR sensor in Microsoft Hyper-V. I hope you found this useful. Relevant documentation for this tech vid is linked in the description. Go to the Sophos community to engage with Sophos experts and have your questions answered. And visit Sophos Tech Vids to learn more helpful tips and get the most out of your products. Thanks for watching.